Hey everybody, it's Allison Sugarman with Attain True Health again. And as I put my apron on this evening to start to cook dinner, I realized that it's snowing out and I didn't finish my pitcher of water yet. And I don't think many people realize that even in the winter we need to drink as much water as we do in the summer. So today's topic is hydration, the importance of hydration. And I have a pitcher here that I fill up every day. It's about 64 ounces. Today was cucumber mint concoction. And then I realized that if I don't have that pitcher gone by the end of the day, I probably didn't get in my water content for the day. So I'm not sure if you know this or not, but as human adults, 65 to 70% of our body is made up of water. So the importance of drinking water can't be greater in today's world of health. We need water to replenish our cells and our tissues and our organs. And without them, they actually start to shrivel up and don't function as properly. Our cells have a beautiful cell membrane, and when it's not fully hydrated or saturated, it actually shrivels a little bit. So the nutrients aren't absorbed through that cell membrane. We don't get the things that we need every day. So it's really, really important to keep yourself hydrated. So the other thing that water is good for is a couple things. Number one, it maintains our body temperature. That's usually why we tend to drink more in the summer than we do in the winter. Because we're trying to cool ourselves off, but it's really helpful to do that. And we need to create homeostasis every day in our bodies. It also removes waste. Now, some people laugh at me when I say this, but I know that you wouldn't wash your car in soda or iced tea or coffee. The only way to be able to clean out and remove the waste in a cleanly manner, I guess is the right word I'm trying to come up with, is to rinse it with water and flush everything out of our system. So water is really important for removing waste. And the last thing it's important for, not the last, but one other really good benefit is keeping our muscles and our joints loose and lubricated. And that's very important, especially as we age. So you can see that water is essential for everything in our bodies functioning properly. So most people do not get enough, I can tell you that. I have clients that come to me with all kinds of symptoms like migraines or dizziness or confusion, and a lot of times it's just dehydration. And believe it or not, the number one cause of dehydration, the number one cause of food cravings, dehydration. People start eating things and start looking for something else when really all their body is asking for is water. So I want to give you a couple symptoms of dehydration just so you might recognize these things in yourself. I know that once I had a headache for a couple days and I realized what in the heck is going on with me, and I started really up my water intake and the headache went away and I realized that I wasn't drinking enough. And so a couple other symptoms besides headaches and confusion would be dry mouth, also sleepiness or lack of energy. If your urine is dark, we want our urine to be a light color, either clear or very pale yellow. And I know sometimes in the elderly, they have very, very dark urine because most people, as they get older, their body doesn't sense the fact that they need to drink more often, so they don't. And it's really a common symptom with elderly people to take them to the hospital sometimes is because they're dehydrated. But you want to start to take a look at your urine color. Also, dizziness could be in headaches, as I mentioned. Migraines could be a sign of dehydration. And the last one, of course, is either dry mouth or extreme thirst. By the time you feel in your body that you're thirsty, you probably already are dehydrated. So you want to pay attention to that. And it's really easy to get water in through the day. I know that I wake up in the morning and I try to drink right off the bat before I do anything else, 8 to 16 ounces. And you're probably wondering how much you need in a day. And you've heard the old adage that everyone should get about 8-ounce glasses a day or 64 ounces. But I have a rule of thumb that I live by, and that is that you should drink half your body weight in ounces. So that means if you weigh 150 pounds, you should be drinking about 75 ounces of water. And you're probably thinking, are you kidding me? That's a lot of water. But even that old adage of 64 ounces a day really isn't enough for someone that weighs 200 or 250 pounds, especially like a big guy. So the amount you ingest during the day or should consume really depends on a couple things, and of course it depends on your weight, but it also depends on how active you are. And of course you should always be drinking water before, during, and after exercise. And if you're sedentary, you should still be drinking water, especially now in the winter when our heat's on. We don't think about it as much, as I mentioned, but we sweat. and that's one of the ways we lose water, so you really need to pay attention to how much you're getting. So throughout the day, you should carry a water bottle with you. You should have it in the car with you. You should have it on the desk at work. You should have a pitcher like I do and set it on the kitchen counter. I work from home a lot, so by the time I know that that pitcher is only halfway down and it's already 4 o'clock in the afternoon, then I know I need to get going. But one of the things I want to remind you is to stop drinking water probably around 7 o'clock. Give yourself 2 to 3 hours before bedtime so you don't wake yourself up at night to go to the bathroom. But I'll give you a couple tips to stay hydrated, and then I want to give you some ideas on different ways of using water. But before I do that, I want to share something with you, because I've been telling you about how much you need, realistically, how much water you need, especially if you're active, and especially if you're in a certain kind of climate or weather temperature. And just on a regular basis, you should have about half your body weight in ounces. But if you start out just upping your water a little bit each day, I know one of the questions that most people have for me is, oh my goodness, I'm going to be in the bathroom all the time. And you probably are for a little bit, and I'll tell you why. Just imagine for a minute that you're in the desert, out in Nevada or somewhere like that, Utah, and the earth is dry and cracked. Well, if you were to pour a big bucket of water or a pitcher of water on that dry, cracked earth, what would happen? Well, the water would probably run off. The earth is so desaturated that it can't even absorb the water because it's so dry. So it would probably take 3, 4, 5 buckets of water, pouring it on that dry, cracked earth before the earth actually saturated the water itself and absorbed it. And so that's what's happening in your body. If the inside of you is so dry, like that desert, that when you start upping your water intake, it runs right off. So what you need to do over the next week or 2 is to slowly increase your water intake. Maybe right now you're drinking 1 or 2 bottles of water a day. Maybe you want to up it to 3. And then tomorrow 3.5, and then 4, and just keep slowly increasing. Because what you're trying to do is to saturate your cells and your organs and your tissues. It's going to run off at the beginning, and yes, you will find a bathroom all over the place. You'll need to go to the bathroom more regularly than you are now. However, I can guarantee you that in 2 weeks, if you up your water intake, if you can get yourself up to half your body weight in ounces a day, in 2 weeks or so, you won't be running to the bathroom as much because your body will be saturated and hydrated and plump and ready to go. And you'll be so much more energized. You'll have so much more mental clarity. You won't even begin to know the difference in yourself just by changing this one little thing. That's the importance of hydration. So with that being said, I want to give you a couple combinations of my favorite water. Some people say, oh God, I get tired of plain water. And what I said to you before about you wouldn't wash your car with soda. So I'm not recommending that. Soda is not a liquid that substitutes for water, and neither is coffee, because that's a diuretic. I will say that sometimes tea can be substituted for waters, and also seltzer, because they're not as much. You won't lose the water content out of them. But you also remember that if you're eating a lot of what I call water-saturated foods, like cucumbers and watermelon, that could constitute a son of your water intake every day. But just know that it doesn't necessarily have to be just plain water that you're getting in. So my concoction today was a beautiful herbal mint and cucumber water, and it's just really refreshing. But some other really amazing combinations would be, of course, you can use lemons and limes. You also might want to use some other fruits. I know that I have added raspberries in my pitcher, and they go really well with limes. I have added melon, like cantaloupe or honeydew in. I love adding fresh herbs, such as basil, and that goes really well with blueberries or blackberries. And sometimes I've been known to add rosemary to my water, and that goes perfect with watermelon. Lots of herbs you can use, lots of different combinations of fruits and vegetables. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. One of my favorites would actually be orange slices with cinnamon sticks in your pitcher of water. So hopefully you can find something out of all those recommendations that you love. And just remember that hydration is important for every function of the body. So I wanted to just share this information with you today. I hope you learned something from the conversation, and I will say cheers to you. Have a beautiful day.